So surprise, we are in Miami. I am so excited that we are staying with my parents for a couple weeks. I'm gonna talk to you guys about why that's happening and all of that, but it was a secret. I was like keeping it from you guys, and I knew that we were coming here after Disney, but I didn't want to share it until we got here. So we are in Miami and I could not be happier. Every time that we come to Miami, you guys are always like, wow, you look so happy. And like, yes, I'm so happy because I have help with the kids, and it's been so long since we have that. I haven't been back in Miami since January when my sister got married, but there was still like all this stuff happening with the wedding. So like an actual chance to just like sit back and relax and get some help with the kids from my parents is like very much appreciated and needed. So I will be vlogging a little bit while we're here, showing you guys what we're up to. Today we're actually starting off late. It's like 4 o'clock and the kids are doing their quiet time. Jackson's actually napping, which is very good because while we were in Disney, again, he did not sleep the greatest in his pack and play. He ended up sleeping in my bed. Like at the end of the trip, towards the end of the trip, the last few days, he ended up just sleeping in my bed, and he slept okay, but still not the same as like when he's in his own room and his own space. So we're trying to get the kids back on their schedule. I'm gonna do a full like Disney recap and my thoughts and all of that in today's vlog. So just a heads up, we're gonna talk a little bit about that and kind of go over what I thought now that you guys have seen the Disney vlogs. But look, Jackson is sleeping there. He's in that like chamber over there where we sometimes set him up because it's so dark in there. And then Riley is sleeping upstairs in the room that she normally sleeps in. But what's different is that we have her in the twin bed that's in there, because in there's a twin bed and there's also a crib. So when we used to come here, she would just sleep in the crib and that was fine. But now that she's potty trained, I don't want to have her in the crib and not have a way to get out if she needs to use the bathroom. So what we did is we put bumpers, and I'll show you when we go get her later. We put bumpers on the side of that twin bed, and we put her Minnie Mouse potty that we brought from home in that room, so that way if she needs to use the bathroom, she can. So she's in quiet time. She may have actually gone to sleep because she's been very quiet. But that's what's been going on today. This morning, I took her outside and immediately, she had been out there for like 9.5 seconds, and she's like, can we go in the pool? I want to go in the pool. So I had her in the pool for a little while earlier today, and she was really enjoying that. And then what else? We're gonna try to see if maybe later we take them to the park, or maybe we'll wait till tomorrow, but they're kind of getting settled in. I just ran to Walmart and I got like a grocery pickup order so that we had some stuff to eat. But as you can imagine, like, remember I shared with you guys like that packing video of like packing for Disney. I was also, not that you knew it, but I was also packing for not only Disney, but the 2 weeks with my parents. So it's been a lot that I've had to make sure that I get and remember and all of that. So I'm glad that we are finally here. And it was just like one of those things that really just worked out well because of the fact that Orlando is 4 hours from my parents. I was like, is there any way that maybe we can spend Easter here with my parents? So it actually ended up being that Joe had a work trip that he was gonna have to go to. He has to go to San Diego for a week. So he's gonna do that next week. And so instead of like us going home and then him flying to San Diego from there, we're just gonna spend the week of Easter this week here with my family, and then that way he can go to his trip and I can still be with my parents and still have help with the kids instead of being by myself in Virginia. So it all worked out. I feel very thankful, very blessed that we were able to make that happen because yeah, I really needed it. But anyway, I still have a million things that I need to unpack. I have things everywhere. I have my mini backpack, which has died, you guys. The bow of this bag has completely come off, so this bow has seen better days. I'm gonna have to get a new backpack. It's like destroyed all here. It lasted a couple years, but now it's time for a new backpack. So I have things I need to unpack here. I also have like all my toiletries that I need to set up. I brought my shampoo, my conditioner, I brought the kids stuff, and I just have things that, my styling cream and stuff that I need to take to my bathroom. And then speaking of my bathroom, this is our setup here. It looks beautiful, I know, so gorgeous. I've got Riley's potty thing that I brought from home with her stool so she can use the bathroom here. And this is like where Joe and I put all of our stuff when we come because there's not like a lot of storage here, but we've got at least our toothbrushes and all of that, and all of my toiletries are down there. But I have to set up a million things. The one thing I did want to show you guys is that I got a new razor. So I brought this from home. It has like its own little magnet, which is so cute, to keep it up there. But anyway, I want to bring my razor out. As weird as it is, I'm gonna bring it out of the bathroom because the lighting in there and like the noise from the bathroom is awful. But today's video is sponsored by Billy, so thank you to them for working with me today. We're just going with it, okay? So I don't know if you guys remember, I told you guys a million years ago that I had a different razor subscription, and it was okay. It was the one that Joe used to get all the time. So I just got an extra razor and we were both doing the same subscription. When I started using this one, I was like, oh my god, like what have I been doing wrong like all my life? Because this one is so much better than the one that I had been using. I had seen a bunch of people talk about this razor on Instagram, and I was like, can it really be that different? Can it really be that good? A razor is a razor. A razor is not a razor, my friends. This is definitely a million times better, especially like for us women that were shaving in a million different places, whether it's like, you know, like your toes or your bikini line or your knees. Like when I shaved around my knees with this, I was like, this is so nice. It like forms to like all the different bows in your body. I thought it was great. I've had a great experience with the Billy razor. The quality of it is just great. It's also encased in like a charcoal, which makes it a great detoxifier. It leaves me feeling like super silky smooth. My legs are nice and smooth now. Like when I was in Disney, you guys, like remember I had been in Virginia all this time. The whole winter, I like would shave my legs like once a week, once every 2 weeks. And when I got to Disney, I was like, oh wait, I'm in shorts now. Like I better be shaving a little bit more frequently. I even told my sister, I was like, oh, I think I still need to shave my legs. I'm a little bit hairy. So I'm definitely gonna be using a razor a lot more often. So if you guys are in need of a new razor, you're on the hunt for something like this, I highly recommend the subscription. It's also super affordable. Like when I was looking at the price, I was like, this is like stupid. Like why would you go to the store and go and buy a regular razor with all the cartridges? I remember I used to go to the store and spend like 30 bucks on razor heads, and that was like a hard hit to your wallet, like all up at once. The way that Billy works is you get the actual razor itself plus 2 of the cartridges plus that little magnetic holder, and you get it for like $9. That's like the initial kit. $9 up front like that, and then you can select how often you want to get like the what do they call them, like the refills. So when they send you refills, they send you 4 at a time, and that's $9 for 4 of the little cartridges, and you can decide how often you want them to send you the new refills. So I think you can choose every month or every 2 months or every 3 months, which is great. They also have like the handle in a million different colors. The periwinkle one is so cute. So I'm gonna leave a link down below in the description box in case you guys want to check it out. All you have to do is click that link and you'll get the starter kit for $9 plus free shipping. And that's all I'm gonna say about it. It's fantastic. I love it. So thank you, Billy, for sponsoring today's vlog. And now of course, like clockwork, Jackson is awake, so let's go get him. We call this like the sleep deprivation chamber, or like the sensory deprivation chamber, because it's so dark in here and you get a good sleep in here, except of course he's mad now. This is all of his clothes. Everything's laid out on the pool table. Get over here, bud. Why are you sad? He woke up very cranky and very sad. Okay, no, don't be sad. Come on, mama. Look, I gave him some food and now he's happy again. I gave him this little granola bar. Let me show you what it is. I just picked these up at the Walmart that we went to get the order, and he seems to be liking these. Buddy, is that tasty? Does that make you happy again? Look how cute his PJs are. These are the ones that I got him at Old Navy when I went the other day, and I got them some new PJs. It's got cars, some kind of truck, but I needed to get him some like short sleeve PJs for when it's warmer outside, because now you're in Florida. That's like the one thing my mom always tells me when I bring the kids. She's like, make sure that they don't have like only fleece pajamas, because then they're gonna be too hot. So make sure that I have nice, comfy, warmer PJs, like warmer weather PJs for them. How's that bar? Is that tasty? He does pretty good with these. No more tears, no more tears. No, don't be sad. Anyway, let's get Riley. Hello! So this is Riley's setup over here. She was doing her quiet time. So that's where she used to sleep, in the crib. But now she has the bed with the little bumpers that we ordered. And she also has her potty. Hello, Mimi! Say hello. You want to play with what for a little while? In here, in this room?
Did you take a nap?
She did not. She's a Johnny. Little Johnny.
When I lost you, I went in my bed. You closed the door.
Yeah.
And I was crying in my bed.
Why were you crying?
Because I won't like the dark.
You don't like the dark? It wasn't that dark.
There was actually a lot of light in here. So yes, she had her set up, but she actually stayed in there. At least she wasn't like walking around. So that's where we're gonna try to have her sleep and do her quiet time to kind of maintain some sense of normalcy in her schedule, since we're gonna be here for the 2 weeks. That's normally what we do at home. She does like her quiet time where she gets her iPad and she's just, you know, in there while Jackson's down for his nap. And she's content, and that gives us a little break. Little miss, let's go downstairs. So she found all the toys that my mom keeps here at her house. What are all those? She found La Pepas. Let's go to the park. Are you walking to mama? His pants are like all the way up. Little dude, come here. Having the rest of his bar. I don't think the last time we were here that you guys had seen my mom's new rug. She got the prettiest rug for the living room here. And she also got a new fan which makes the room look really pretty. The only thing is that my mom's house is very nice and I have 2 kids. And so every time that we're here, I spend the whole time going, Jackson, please don't touch that. Please don't break that. Please don't eat there. Please don't spill that. So as much as we love being here, it's still very like you're on high alert because, you know, my house is whatever, chaotic and a mess, and that's fine. But my mom likes to have her stuff tidy and the kids are just little terrors. So I'm trying to keep an eye on that bar, make sure that there's no crumbs that get on her rug. Now I gotta pick them up right away. But they opened up a park not too far from my mom's house. So we told Riley that when it was a little bit not as hot, so like now like around 4:35, we'd try to go to the park for a little bit and check it out and get her to burn some energy there at the park. So we're all very excited to do that. So I gotta change this little guy when he finishes his food. They've also got like all these toys all over the place. Mimi and Papa keep bringing out toys for them. This he's had for a long time. This little popcorn thing that now it's funny because now he's actually at a point where he's walking and he can use it, because before he was too little and didn't know how to use it. Now it gets him super excited. And do you like that? Oh, I forgot. I also saw, now that I saw this random shoe, I saw Jackson hide Riley's other shoe in here. And he was like looking at me and like watching as like he was stuffing it in there. He was looking at me like, yes, this is what I'm doing. But if I don't take it out, I will forget that it is there. They've been playing with this little house all morning that my sister had given us, like for my mom's house. So this is like their little playhouse. This is Lily and this is Bob. They're very happy to meet you guys. I think my grandparents are gonna come over tomorrow, and that makes me so happy because I haven't seen them in like 3 months, and we're used to seeing my grandparents also very regularly. My grandparents got the vaccine, so we feel a lot more comfortable having them around us and stuff, because like for all of this time when all of this stuff was happening, they would come over whenever we were here, but like they would always wear their masks. We would wear our masks, or we'd go outside. So having that extra level of like peace of mind for them makes us really happy. So that'll be a good time. And again, like I already said, we're gonna spend Easter with them. So I have to sometime this week go and get some Easter eggs and some candy, because we're gonna do an egg hunt outside. But I didn't get any of that stuff when I was making their baskets because I didn't want to like transport it and have the chocolate melting and all of that. So yeah, let me finish getting the kids ready to go to the park and all of that. And then when we come back later, once the kids are in bed, I'll do a quick little Disney recap, because I've been doing some of it on stories today, but I want to kind of just share some of my thoughts about Disney. A lot of you guys also asked me like what I regret having, or what did I actually use in Disney. So a lot of good questions that I'm hoping that I can answer for you guys. But first, let's get these kiddos to the park. All right, we're getting ready to go to the park. Riley's ready to go. And this is my old stroller, you guys. I miss this stroller. This is a good single stroller. And I had the stroller organizer. We're taking some hand sani or waters. But then when I outgrew this stroller, I left it here at my mom's house for this reason, so that we can just use it and not have to worry about having a stroller. Let's go, little dude. You don't want your sunglasses? Okay. Go, have fun. You're gonna go on the slide? The swing? This is such a cute little park. What do you think? Do you like it? Go down fast. It's too hot? It's a little bit hot. That's all right, you can go run around. Hold on tight and don't let go. Okay. Hold on tight and don't let go. You guys, I legit thought that that was a real child being held by that guy. What is this? The seesaw? Say good job, Mimi. But that's it? She lasted 20 seconds. Little man, you chilling in there? This guy's straight up chilling. He brought his little car. Gonna go do some things? See some stuff? There you go, Jackson. It's like you're driving a car. He looks so cute. He's like, what is this? Being outside at a park? You like it? I think so. Jackson, do you like to swing? Is that it? Are you over it? He looks kind of terrified. All right, so we made it back home. My dad is home from work, so he's gonna cook some burgers on the grill. So We're waiting for those for our dinner. I've been making the kids their dinner. So I've got Jackson, I made him like some shredded chicken here, and then this is cantaloupe with applesauce, and then Riley is gonna have veggie straws and sliced up apples, and then I'm waiting for her Uncrustables to defrost. So fun times over here. This is my life with a very picky toddler. Okay, we're going. Have you guys seen how Jackson counts? 1, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. It's the cutest thing in the whole world. Now he does 1, 2, 3. Get it, gordo. All right, the kids are down for bed. I'm gonna try to do some baking. I'm gonna try to bake some cookies and answer some Disney questions. Joe just got back from running errands. Look at the disgusting thing that he brought home. Show it to me, Joseph.
No, I don't have it.
Who has it? This is what my lovely husband brought home.
You like marshmallows and you like Sour Patch Kids.
Babe, I do not like them together. That's nasty.
How did I know that? Who would have known that they actually have these out there?
Sour Patch marshmallows, people. This is absolutely wrong on so many levels.
I don't think
if you like this, Ryan, we have problems.
I don't think they taste bad.
You need to taste a couple more.
This is disgusting.
Mimi, you have to try one. Mimi, just try one. Pick a flavor.
They're not bad.
Yes, they are. They are nasty. I had a blue one. I don't know. You tell me what you think.
Oh my god, you're gonna ruin Peeps and
Sour Patch are two good things. They're not good together.
they look like Peeps.
Oh dear.
Go, throw them out. They're not terrible.
Oh my god, Mimi! We thought for sure you would hate them. That's not good.
They're not terrible.
Oh my god, Mimi has very bad taste because these are not very good. Let me try the yellow one. You tried the yellow one? Mimi, what's wrong with you? It's nasty. Okay, so new plan. It's like 10 o'clock at night and I've been baking. So I did make the cookies. I'm gonna let them cool down. I was gonna like film and bake at the same time, but the boys are watching Deadpool over there in the background and like every other word is a curse word. So I was like, that's not gonna work out. So I'm gonna let these cool down and then I'll put them in a little Tupperware and put them in the fridge for tomorrow. But I'm gonna take you guys upstairs and we're gonna talk about Disney. So this is the room where Joe and I are staying. This used to be my sister's room if you guys are new here. But this is where we stay now. So this is gonna be like the most random setup because there's like no tripod. I have no tripod, like a big tripod, and there's nowhere in this room that's like slightly elevated except for this random dresser here. But I asked you guys on Instagram like what questions you guys had about Disney, so I thought we could chat about that. My phone is about to die too, so that's great. Actually, let me see if I can plug it in. Is it long enough? Maybe. Perfect. Okay, so got a lot of questions about Riley and how she did with the potty training in the park. So what we did for the parks is I took that little travel potty that I have that you guys have seen me talk about before. I took that underneath the stroller, and whenever throughout the day she needed to go, she would tell me, Mom, I need to do pee-pee, and I would just take that out, go to the public bathrooms, and I would put that potty over like the toilet and she would go. She even pooped in the parks, you guys. So I was like super impressed that she did that. The only thing she didn't have an issue with is the sound of the flushing. She's like really not into the flushing, and at one point like she was sitting on the toilet and like it's happened to a million other kids. She's sitting in the toilet and it automatically flushed, and like she thought her butt cheeks were gonna get sucked into the toilet, so she was kind of scared about that. But other than that, she did really well. Like she was able to tell us when she needed to go, and I was happy. No accidents going to Disney either. Like the car ride, I didn't put her in a pull-up. I thought I was gonna put her in a pull-up, but then I ended up forgetting. So she had no accidents and she did really good. As far as the public bathrooms, because some people have mentioned that they don't like the bathrooms at Disney, I found them to be so much less crowded than normal. Like I remember going to Disney as a kid and like having to wait in lines like to go to the bathrooms, and like trying to plan out my like going to the bathroom breaks when like I didn't really have to go, because if I really had to go and I had to wait a line, I was gonna have an accident in my pants. But the bathrooms weren't packed. We didn't have to wait in a line, not even once. So that's kind of how she did with the bathroom. So I got some questions from people saying like, did you get the fast pass? To my knowledge, I didn't know that they were even offering that right now during COVID and stuff. I saw like some people, like there was a separate fast pass lane, but like as far as the regular fast passes that we were used to, like where you'd log in and reserve your certain fast passes, like we didn't have the option of doing that. Maybe you could have paid more for it, I don't know. Like some of the questions are kind of making me think that, but we didn't get any fast passes. So right now I thought that we weren't having any fast passes. Similar to the questions that I got, like some people were like, oh, you should have done a dining plan. Right now during COVID, that was not an option. So before, you could save a lot of money with the dining plans, and they had like different plans, and you could pick like how many meals, how many snacks or whatever. Like there were different levels, I believe. This time around, we didn't have that option. So we just had to spend a fortune buying food, which I'm sure I'll talk about in a second. So what would you have done or packed differently? So the one thing I will say, I packed underneath the stroller a lot of things thinking that I was gonna get cool at night. Like I packed a bunch of sweaters and blankets and all of that. I don't even think once, like we used the blankets like early in the morning when it was kind of windy outside, but it never got to be cold outside. So we just always had like all of these like sweaters and stuff that we ended up not needing, just taking up space in the stroller. Other than that, I don't think that I took really anything that we didn't use. The things that I think you need to have: hand sanitizer, somewhere super easy to get to, whether that's in your backpack or like there in the stroller. But the parks do have hand sanitizer all around the rides and stuff, but there were a couple occasions where I'd put my hand under the little hand sanitizer dispenser or whatever and nothing would come out. So if you just rely on that, you might find yourself in some scenarios like where there is none. The stroller fans were absolutely essential. I will link them again in the description box. The stroller fans, the kids would have like suffocated without, like it was so hot. So I highly recommend those. The little spray bottle that I had came in handy. I was able to like mist the kids with that a couple times throughout the day. And then the cooling towels, my dad had bought us cooling towels at Sam's, but you can also get them on Amazon. Those were great. You get them and you just like pour water on them, and then you can put them around your neck, and it helps you to like be somewhat cool when it's friggin' like a sauna outside. To be fair to us though, we planned this trip thinking, okay, it's March, like it's not gonna be the summer, it's not gonna be like August, but it ended up being almost like a week in August because it was like 90 degrees and it was brutally hot. So had I known that, I wouldn't have picked that week, because we make it a point to not try to go when it's like 90 degrees outside, and it just worked out that way. So what I would have done differently though is, as far as how we did the Disney days, like when it's not hot outside, it's okay to be out there all day long, and that's what I've been used to. I've been used to, we get to the parks really early, we're there the entire day, and eventually when everybody's tired, like at 7, 8, 9 o'clock, depending on how late the park is open to, that's when we go back to the hotel and we call it a night from there. But knowing that it would be so hot and just that it was not fun to be outside when the sun was like beaming down, I would have either like spent the day at the hotel, like spent the day walking around, eating, letting Riley use a pool, and then maybe like around 4 go to the parks and be there till they close. Or I would have maybe gone to the parks for the morning and then taken a break around, I don't know, like noon, take a break, go back to the hotel, let the kids nap, like just kind of have that break in the day to get out of the sun in those like really hot times of the day, and then gone back to the parks maybe like around 4, like I said, and enjoyed the rest of the night there. But you know, you live and you learn. So if it's ever that hot again when we go, we'd probably do that. Again, a lot of that also, it's easier to do that like when you're staying at a hotel that has like the monorail access. We didn't, so it's like a matter of like, you know, taking the stroller to the car, packing up the stroller, you know, folding it, getting the kids in the car seats. Do you want to do that multiple times a day? Probably not. That's why you pay an arm and a leg to stay at those monorail hotels for sure. So that being said, how did I handle naps and stuff with the kids? We let them just nap in the stroller whenever they were dead tired. Like whenever we saw that they were getting sleepy or they were getting fussy, we would put them in the stroller, push them around, and they would fall asleep. And sometimes like Riley took a good hour-plus nap in there, Jackson too, like it just kind of depended on what was going on. I tried, like if they were sleeping, like there were a couple times when Jackson had fallen asleep in the stroller and we were getting ready to ride another ride, and when that would happen, Joe was like, forget it, I'm not gonna pull Jackson out of the stroller to go on the ride. He's like, I'll just stay out here with him, and Joe would stay out there, push the stroller. If it was a ride that Joe wanted to ride, they did have, like for certain rides, they have, I think it's called parent swap or rider swap. I'm not sure the name, but it's intended for parents that have a child that can't ride a ride. And so you basically, like one person makes the line and rides the ride, and then when they're done with it, the other parent gets to ride the ride. I'm not like the most technical about that, you can look it up, but so we did that like a couple times where I would make the line with my parents, go on the ride, and then when we were done, Joe would then go on the ride. But we kind of just winged it, you know, and yes, the schedule was all out of whack and the kids were off their schedule. Like, we did not stick to their schedule and they were up late. Like, I think the day that we went to Epcot, I don't know, we got back to the hotel like at 10 o'clock or something. So they were wired, and then by the time that we bathed them, because I like refused to let them get in bed without being bathed, like that they were out all day in the sun, they were sweating, like they were around people. So every night they got a bath, and then by the time that was done, and you know, you got them in their jammies and stuff, it was late when they were going to sleep. So Jackson did not sleep the best. Jackson was up in the middle of the night several times, kind of wouldn't settle, kind of similar to when we went to Virginia Beach. So I kind of gave up on putting him in the pack and play, and eventually he just kind of slept with me in the bed, and it was fine. Then like a couple nights he slept straight through in my bed, and you know, it just kind of was what it was during that time. I tried not to stress too much about it. But then last night when we slept here at my parents', he slept the entire night. So I'm one of those people that, like, yes, I don't love throwing them off their schedule, but if it's a special event, if it's a special thing, I'm okay with them being off their schedule, because I know that eventually they'll get back to their schedule. Again, I'm sure that there's some exceptions there. I'm sure there's some kids that like literally cannot be off their schedule for a minute, but I try to like not super stressed about that. So do they allow pictures with the characters? That was one of the big things that changed since COVID. So no, you cannot do, like, there's no meet and greets with the characters. There's no, hey, there's a character, let's make a line so that they can sign autographs and take pictures. There's none of that right now. The closest that you can get to that is when you do like a character dining, when you book a character dining meal or whatever, but those reservations book super fast. So I think you can book right now, I forget if it's 30 days before your reservation, like before your time at the park, or 60 days before you go to the parks. But there's like a certain window of like when you can start booking dining reservations. But even if you go online, like the day that you're allowed to, like they book up so quickly. Like as soon as I was able to make any dining reservations, I tried to make a reservation for Chef Mickey's, which is like one of the most popular character breakfasts there, and it was already booked. So, and I kept checking, like I kept checking every week, every couple of days to see if anything would open up, and they didn't. But in those meals, the characters come out, they sing, they dance, whatever, and you can see them a little bit more up close. But even still, like you can't hug them. I'm sure that maybe they can take pictures with kids like far away, but not up close. But I was okay with it because we did get lucky and we were able to see like those couple of parades. If you watch the vlogs, you guys will see like we caught a few of the parades that were going through the park. So I feel like Riley got to at least see the princesses that she wanted to see, but we got lucky because we honestly had no idea when those little mini parades were gonna go on throughout the day. So like had we been on a ride when those things were happening, we probably would have missed them. So it's not the best right now if you're really dead set on seeing the characters. But we went into it knowing like there's a chance that this is gonna be very different and not feel like other Disney trips, and we were just like determined to make the best of it. So kind of along the lines, somebody said, is everything open? Does it feel normal, or is it kind of sad like most places? So I feel like, I don't know, like I've been to Disney a lot. My parents took me to Disney every year, every couple of years as a kid. Like that was like our place to go because we were so close in Florida. Is everything open? Not everything. Like you do notice like there's some food places. Like my mom was so sad because like one of the things that she wanted was like the ice cream from the ice cream parlor like there on Main Street in Magic Kingdom, and for whatever reason it was closed. So she was really upset about that. She's like, why is the ice cream place closed? So there are like certain food kiosks that are closed, and there are certain like restaurants that are closed still. Some of the restaurants, I don't know exactly why they're closed, but there are some lines right now for rides that go into restaurants because of like how far like spaced out they have to be. So like when we were in Magic Kingdom, the Peter Pan line goes outside of the Peter Pan ride and like into the restaurant next door. So I don't know if that's why, you know, they're not opening up the restaurants, because they need the space for other things. But does it feel normal? I feel like, yes, it's weird to see everybody wearing a mask, but for the most part, like people were happy, people were enjoying themselves, people were doing Disney, and it was nice in a way just to feel a bit more normal, going out and seeing other humans and like seeing big amounts of people. Like the most amount of people I've seen lately is like, you know, when I go to Target, or you know, on the few occasions that I've gone to the grocery store, and that's at a much smaller scale than Disney. But in my opinion, you know, everybody's opinion, first of all, is gonna be different, and everybody's level of like what's normal, what's magical, like everybody's is gonna be different. I had a great time. I felt like I was doing Disney. Had it not been so hot, it would have been great. And really, the heat has nothing to do with COVID or with what's going on. It's just, it was a freaking heat that made some of the days a lot harder than they needed to be. But it was still nice. It was still Disney. There's still music in the background, and the fun of seeing your kids see other characters and other things that they see in the movies and stuff. So a little bit of both, but not to the point where I was like, man, I can't believe we wasted our money to come here right now when things are completely different. I didn't feel like that. Okay, sorry, I had to really plug in my phone because all that time it wasn't even charging because I had like pulled out the cord, so I'm gonna be a little bit farther away. So I got a lot of questions about like, when would you take your child to Disney? What age was better? Was Riley's age better? Was Jackson's age better? So this is what I'm gonna say about like the age of going to Disney. So we took Jackson now. He was 15 months old. I feel like he had a good time. He liked being outside. He would point at things. When he would hear music, he would clap. Like when he saw Mickey Mouse in the little mini parade, he clapped. You know, there were certain things that I knew he was enjoying. Will he ever remember this trip? Absolutely not. So did I enjoy seeing him experience it, whether he remembers it or not? I did. I really enjoyed being there, and the fact that my family was all there and like having it be his first trip to Disney, I enjoyed it. That being said, if I could only take my kids once in their entire life, or once like every 10 years to Disney, just because of financial reasons, I would probably wait till they were a little bit older. I think one is a little bit still too young for them to really understand. When we took Riley last time, she was 22 months, so she was almost 2, and I feel like she had the best time. Like at 2, I really do feel like she understood. I really do feel like she was excited about the characters. I feel like she, you know, was excited, like she was playing with her bubble wand the whole time last time that we took her, and she knew Ariel enough to be able to appreciate certain things that she was seeing. You know, she danced, she clapped, she had a great time. So I feel like 2 is great. 2 is a good age, and at 2 they're still free, so you don't have to buy them a ticket. So I would say anytime that they are 2, even like as close to 3 as they can get, that's probably a good age because they understand a little bit more, and also you don't have to pay for them. Now Riley this time around was what is she? She's like 3 years and 4 months, something like that. I don't know, she's not quite 3.5, but she is a little bit older than 3. I thought this time around that she was gonna have the best time. Like I thought it was gonna be an even better experience because she was older, and while I do feel that she had, you know, a good time and she enjoyed being with us and she got very excited about certain things, there was an element that I wasn't expecting I was gonna have to deal with, and that was the fact that she was now scared of certain things. And that was something that I did not at all prepare for. I didn't think that that was something that I was gonna have to deal with at all. But there were multiple times, you guys, multiple times this trip where Riley said that she was scared. She didn't want to be anywhere where it was dark. She would say, no, it's too dark, it's scary. Like when we were waiting in lines, it wasn't the fact that we were waiting in lines or the fact that it was taking too long or anything like that, or that she was bored. Like there were certain times when we were going inside of lines and they happened to go inside of a building, and she didn't want to do that, and she was saying, it's scary, I need a light, and she was saying, get me out of here, I want to go outside. So I was dealing with this element of her not being happy in the lines, like even to go see the aerial ride. Like I took her to Disney thinking like, oh my gosh, she's gonna be so excited to go ride the aerial ride, and multiple times before she would say, I can't wait to ride the aerial ride. I would ask her, what are you excited to ride? She'd say the aerial ride. So we're there and she's freaking having a meltdown, and I was like a mixture of frustrated, of like annoyed, of sad for her, sad for me, because I'm like, here I paid all this money to bring you to Disney and you're like crying right now, like what is going on? So I wasn't expecting to have to deal with that, but it is kind of normal because at this age, around 3, is when they start to have fears and they start to be afraid of things that are like out of their normal stuff that they see on a daily basis. So after being a little bit frustrated and annoyed and all the things that I mentioned, as the day kind of went on and as the trip went on, I kind of realized like, you know, I have to meet her where she's at, and you know, it doesn't mean that she hates Disney. It doesn't mean that she's mad that we brought her. It just means that, you know, there are certain things that she hasn't had to deal with before. This is all new, a new experience, especially for a child that's been pretty much locked up for a whole year. Like, it's a lot. It's very overstimulating. It's a little bit difficult for them to adjust right off the bat. So just keep that in mind, I would say, if you're thinking about taking someone who's maybe 3-ish to the parks. You know, are they scared of loud noises? Are they scared of the dark? A lot of the rides, as fun as they are for us, they can be scary for kids. They are loud. Like, even for me, I was on some rides, I'm like, why does this have to be so loud? Like, this is annoying. Just, you know, keep that in mind. Like, Riley would have had the best day just being in the stroller, looking around. Like, that's why I think she had the best time at Animal Kingdom, because Animal Kingdom, for the most part, for her was kind of like just a giant zoo. Like, they have animals in a million different places for them to look at, and we rode the safari, and she loved the safari. She was outside. There wasn't anything like dark or scary about it. So I think out of all the parks, she probably enjoyed that one the most, or was least scared in that one. And there's not as many like rides to ride at her age. Given that I do have plans on hopefully taking the kids again, like, I felt comfortable with taking them at this age. So that's kind of like my 2 cents on like the ages. Kind of depends on how many times you think you're gonna go to Disney, what your budget looks like. But if you do like have a limited budget, you're thinking of only taking them once in their life, I would, again, wait till they're old enough where they're not scared of things. Wait till they're old enough where they can experience things and go on more rides. I don't know, maybe that's 4, maybe that's 5, but we love that we were able to take them. So this person asked if the ticket includes food too. The ticket does not include food. So the ticket literally just gets you to the parks. Everything else is extra. Like, parking is extra. I think parking might be free if you stay on hotel property, like Disney property. If you're staying at a Disney hotel, I believe, you will have to do your own research, but I think you get free parking. If you're staying off of property, the regular parking is $25 and preferred parking is $50. So we did preferred parking to the parks, and I thought I was gonna have to pay 50 bucks, but because we were staying at Disney property, they gave us the preferred parking for $25. And the preferred parking is great because it gets you parked like way closer to the entrance, so you're not walking as much. So for me, I thought it was worth it. But yeah, all the food, all the snacks, all the water bottles, for the love of God, let's talk about the cost of like water bottles and bananas. So Disney will let you take like a soft cooler, not like a hard heavy duty cooler. So you can take a backpack and you can take a soft cooler. I would highly recommend that you fill that up with water, that you fill that up with snacks for your kids, fruit if you can, like bananas, oranges, things that are easy for them to eat, that aren't gonna go bad if they're out in the heat, things like that. Cheez-Its, whatever your kids are gonna want to snack on throughout the day. You can even pack sandwiches for them for lunches, because everything there is a fortune, okay? Like, one Uncrustable there, I believe, was like almost $3. When we bought bananas for the kids, one single banana was $2.50, where I was like, I could get like 50 bananas for $2. Water bottles also, I think like some water bottles I saw almost as expensive as like $5. And I'm like, what on earth, how is this allowed? Like, this is insane. So things like that, you're not gonna wanna waste your money on, especially if it's easy for you to get your hands on it, and just put it in a backpack, put it in a cooler. It'll just save you some money that you can spend on the actual food and other things like that. The stroller for us worked out perfect, you guys. I had a lot of people saying that the double stroller is hard to navigate, that I'm not gonna like it, that I should have gotten a side-by-side stroller. I like the double stroller. Joe is the one that for the most part pushed it, so granted I wasn't the one pushing the kids the whole time, but he didn't have any complaints about the stroller. There was a ton of storage space, so any souvenirs that we got, anything that we needed to put there, we put that there. And if you've never been to Disney before, first of all, like, a stroller, highly recommend if you have kids, okay? Because otherwise you're gonna end up with a kid that's tired, that wants you to carry them, and it's just not really feasible when you're at Disney. Like, it's a lot of walking, it's a lot of going from place to place. So you can rent strollers at the parks themselves, but the strollers that are at the parks are like super, like, not comfortable. Like, they look like they're hard as a rock. I'm not sure what the prices go for, but if you have a stroller, I would take it. The other option that you can do is you can rent a stroller. I think there's a company that will deliver strollers to your rooms. I think it's called Kingdom Strollers, but you can Google that and do your own research. You can rent some strollers once you get to Orlando, once you're in the area. I believe that there's some companies that will send you the stroller to your room. But anyway, when you're at Disney and you're waiting in line for a ride, for the most part, I think almost all of the rides, like in all the lines, you can't take your stroller. So you can't just be waiting, like if the ride says an hour wait, you can't just have your kid in the stroller for an hour. You have to park your stroller in the designated like stroller parkings, take your child out of the stroller, and then wait the line. That's just how it works. So we did that throughout the day. Like whenever everybody was gonna ride a ride, we'd have to take the kids out, and like we'd carry Riley or put her on the floor and then carry Jackson, and we'd do the line with them for however long the line was. The stroller parking itself is usually somewhat close to the ride, but you have to park it there, and then at the end of the ride you go back and you retrieve your stroller. Some people have fears sometimes about like, is somebody gonna take my stuff? Is somebody gonna steal my stroller? I will tell you, I didn't feel like unsafe leaving my stroller there. I'm like, look, if somebody really wants to steal my stroller that bad, I mean, just, you know, have at it. But what I would do is make sure like I'm not leaving anything super valuable in the stroller. Like I never left my camera or my phone or my wallet or anything like that in the stroller. But you know, if they wanted to take a stroller that badly with a Mickey Mouse attachment and my cooler or whatever, then you know, karma is a beast. That being said though, a tip that a lot of people use for like finding your stroller again, because remember, your stroller is like parked in a sea of other strollers, you can get a balloon. So you can buy like probably like a $500 balloon there at Disney and wrap it up onto the stroller, and then that way out of a sea of all the strollers, it's super easy to spot yours because you have like this special balloon. Or you can find like other things that just make your stroller more noticeable. Some people tie a string or a special toy or something so that the stroller kind of stands out, so it's easier for you to find your stroller when you get off of a ride. And then the last thing that I'll mention in this video, because I'm like tired, I need to go take a shower and go to sleep, but the last thing I'll answer is just overall like how I felt with COVID and like the COVID restrictions, or what's different this time around. So let's start off with like getting into the park. So first of all, you have to, before you even go in through security where they check your bags and stuff, you have to go through a little tent where they check your temperature. So they have like little forehead thermometers, and they'll scan everybody that's entering the parks, and then if you don't have a fever or whatever, they let you continue on to security. So there's that. Obviously there's the fact that now everybody has to wear a mask. So kids over the age of 2 do have to wear a mask. So I'll link the masks that Riley and I used. We used disposable masks, and as hot as it was outside, I really didn't find them super uncomfortable to be wearing. So like I've said like a couple times now on Instagram, like I thought going into this trip that the masks were gonna be like my biggest issue about the trip, like that I wasn't gonna like wearing the masks, and that was gonna like ruin the trip. But what was actually a bigger issue than the masks was the temperature outside, like the heat, the weather, the fact that it was just beaming sun, like that made the trip, like certain parts in the day, it was just brutal. So you have the masks. I do think it makes you feel a lot more comfortable knowing that everyone around you is wearing the mask. When you're waiting pretty much anywhere, like whether it's to buy a cup of coffee or to buy a pretzel or to ride a ride, they have markers on the floor now that say, please wait here, and they're 6 feet apart from the next marker, so that they encourage parties to stay 6 feet away from other parties when they're in lines. I actually really like that because there's no one breathing down my neck. I don't feel like I'm crammed into a line where I feel claustrophobic. I honestly wouldn't even mind if they kept that after this whole thing eventually goes away. Please, please Lord, please go away. There's also hand sanitizing stations before you get on a ride, after you get on a ride. So hand sanitizer in a lot of places. And then when you're on a ride, they have done their best, I think, to keep you 6 feet away from other parties. So there's different ways that they've done that. So there's certain rides where, like if you're in, I don't know how to explain it if you've never been on the rides, but there's certain rides where they've taken plexiglass and they've made just dividers like between you and another person. Like on the monorail, they have that too, because when you get to Magic Kingdom, you have to take a monorail or a ferry to get to the actual park. So they have like little pieces of plexiglass kind of so that you're not like on top of the person that's next to you. And then the same like with rides, there's certain rides where they have the plexiglass. There's like in almost all the rides, there's like little markers on the floor where they'll tell you like, you know, this is where your party needs to stand, and it's 6 feet apart from the next party. So there are less people riding the rides at a time, which could contribute to bigger lines and like bigger wait time. But like on every ride, they would tell you, you know, how many people in your party, and you would see that they would skip certain, like if you've ever been to Disney, you'll see that there's like on the floor like 1 through 12, you know, and there's different numbers that you can stand on. Before they would fill all 12 slots, and now they're filling less of them so that there's more space between parties. In the auditorium, so we went to, when we were in Hollywood Studios, I think, we went on that Frozen sing-along, whatever, that's in an auditorium. Before, they would jam-pack that auditorium where like every single seat was filled. Like, I don't know if you guys remember, if you've ever been to Disney before, they would always tell you like slide all the way down, like, and you'd be like stuck sitting next to a stranger, and you were like always like, man, like why couldn't I just like kind of have a little bit more space? So now they've done things differently there too, where instead of filling every single row, like from the front of the auditorium to the back, they'll fill one row and then they'll skip a row, and then they'll fill the next row and then they'll skip a row. And then like the seats in those rows, they're also skipping seats so that there's space between parties too. So a lot less people in the auditorium, basically, a lot more space between people. So I felt comfortable with that. A lot of reminders to wear your masks, a lot of, you know, they would come on the loudspeaker and tell you like you're not allowed to eat or drink in the lines when you're waiting for rides. So I felt like they were doing a pretty good job. I did see multiple times, not so much on the ride, but it does seem like they're making an effort to clean things more. Like, I didn't notice people cleaning the rides themselves, but when we were in the pool at the hotel that we were staying at, I did notice the lifeguards going and like wiping off the seats after people left, like the lounge chairs that were outside, the beach chairs, whatever. I saw the lifeguards cleaning them, which made me feel comfortable that they were sanitizing and stuff like that. And then like, was it crowded? I didn't feel like it was more crowded than I've seen it in the past, to be honest. Like, yes, there were a lot of people, and yes, the lines were super long, like in length, like distance wise, the lines were super long because of that social distancing that makes you like be further apart from the person in front of you. We also went during spring break, so I was anticipating that like the wait times and stuff were gonna be like 90 minutes, and the longest that we waited for a ride was 60 minutes when we did Flight of Passage in Animal Kingdom. So not as bad as I thought it was gonna be. Yes, a lot of people, especially like COVID wise, like yes, it's a lot of people. It's not like, oh, it was completely empty, or you know, there was no one there. Like, there were people there. And in certain parks and in certain places in certain parks, it feels a lot more crowded just because of like how much space people have to spread apart. So just keep that in mind. Like, I think Hollywood Studios, if I'm not mistaken, is one of the places where it seems more crowded because there's like less open areas. But honestly, it wasn't as bad as I thought it was gonna be. I was going into it thinking it was gonna be way worse. And then the really last thing that I'm gonna talk about is the Skyliner, you guys, because I told you guys that I don't like heights, okay? I have a terrible fear of heights. I have a lot of anxiety. As I've become a mom, I have even more anxiety. I have those irrational fears that literally everything is gonna cause me or my children to die. Like, that is something that I have struggled with and that I've shared with you guys. So needless to say, the thought of getting on the Skyliner was not something that I was at all happy about. And going into my trip, I was like, I'm not doing it. No way, you can't pay me. I cannot get on that thing. It's just not my jam. I will literally drive to the parks. I would pay $300 to park at a park versus going on the Skyliner, because the Skyliner is free, so there's like the whole convenience factor. You don't have to fold up the stroller. So a lot of people see that as a perk to staying at Art of Animation or one of the other hotels that have the Skyliner. So that morning that we were gonna go to Hollywood Studios, it was the first day of us going to the parks, I was like, okay, you know what, I'm gonna suck it up, I'm gonna do it, I am brave, all of the things. And so we got in line to ride the Skyliner, and I nearly had a nervous breakdown. I was crying, I was in tears, thinking that, I don't know, I just kept seeing it. I was like, it's too high off the ground. It's gonna either get stuck, where we're stuck, I don't know how many feet up in the air, and like I would just literally, like, I don't even want to talk about it too much because I'm gonna start to cry. But I was like, we're either gonna get stuck, or somehow that thing, the little line that it's held up by, the cable, whatever it is, it's going to snip, and we're gonna fall and die and crash to our death. So like, that's all that was going through my mind while we were in line to ride the Skyliner. So I was not in a good place. I was like, Joe, I felt so bad because like Joe kept looking at me and like he knew that I was not in a good place. But you know, we were in line, and the thing is that we were in line, and then we get on the Skyliner, and I'm like, I had to close my eyes. I had to tell everybody to shut up, not talk about it. And then Riley, halfway through the Skyliner, was like, wow, mama, we're so high. And I'm like, oh my God, like, are you kidding me right now? So I sucked it up. I did it, even though I was like hyperventilating there in my mask. And then the problem with Art of Animation, where we were staying, is that when you're on the Skyliner, you go from your hotel to a different hotel. You go to Caribbean Beach. And then at Caribbean Beach, you have to get off the Skyliner and make a separate line to then get on the Skyliner to Hollywood Studios. So after I had already been freaking out the first time, I then had to get on it again to get to actually, you know, Hollywood Studios. And it was not fun. It was not fun at all. So eventually I did it, but I will tell you that going home, I Ubered home. Like, Joe took the stroller and the kids in the Skyliner, and I Ubered with my dad home because I could not get on it again. And I will never get on it again because it was terrifying and I never want to do that again in my life. So if you're scared of heights, if that gives you anxiety, just try to find a different method to get to the parks, because I so wish that my trip hadn't started off with that terrible like morning of stress and anxiety. It would have been a lot more relaxing just getting in my car, somebody driving me, or even me driving myself to the parks and paid and all of that, because I didn't need that stress in my life. So that is my little story about the Skyliner. Kayla and the Skyliner do not get along. I have no intention of doing that again. So yeah, good times. Overall, it was a great trip. It was a great trip. I do not regret it for a minute that we got to go, that we got to see my family, that we got to do it all together, all of us. Those were memories that we're gonna have forever, and I'm very grateful for that. So it was a great trip. And as far as like the costs and stuff, I got a million questions about the costs. I haven't done a final breakdown of like how much we paid in food and all of that, because there's a lot that I can go into about like pricing and the foods. And like, we did the Beauty and the Beast dinner, we did another dinner in Mexico, a lunch in Mexico. Both of them were actually lunches. So I want to like do a breakdown of like the pricing and hopefully share that for you guys at a different time. But in case you guys missed the packing for Disney video, I did get the total cost of what my hotel cost plus the tickets for us, and we paid $2,730. I think I might be off by a couple dollars, but it was $2,700 for the 5 nights at the hotel plus 4 days of tickets for 3 of us. So Jackson doesn't pay, but I had to buy a ticket for Riley, for Joe, and for me for all 4 days at the park. Those were not park hoppers, those were 1 park per day. And for that we paid about $2,700 because we're not Florida residents anymore, so we weren't able to get any kind of Florida resident rate. And if you guys are thinking, well, let me just try to finagle my way into a Florida rate, they're not really gonna check. They do check. They do want to see some kind of proof of residency, so they'll ask you for your ID, or I think I've heard like some people have to take, I don't know, an FPL bill or something that shows that you're a Florida resident. So that's what we paid for that. But the one thing I did want to mention is that when we booked this trip, I got the total cost of the trip was $2,700, but we only had to put a $200 down payment, and then the rest of the money I think was due 30 days before my trip, if I'm not mistaken. So we didn't have to put it all down like all up front, which was great, because after we paid the $200 initially, I was able to say like, okay, we owe another $2,500. How do we break this up from now until when we go? And we factored that into the budget. So that was really helpful. I don't know how long they're gonna do that, where you just put a certain amount down. I don't know if that's like a special thing happening or if that's just how it always is, but that's how we did it this time. So I hope that that at least gave you some insight to our trip, answered some questions. If you guys have anything else you want to know, let me know down below. If you guys haven't watched the vlogs yet, go watch them. They're really fun. And that is it. So stay tuned for a lot more like Miami vlogs. Like I said at the beginning, we're gonna be here for 2 weeks, so I'm hoping that we get to do some fun stuff while we're here, and I hope to take you guys along too. So a little change of scenery. We're not freezing our butts off in Virginia. We're gonna be outside and doing some things, and I'm just really happy to be here. So again, a huge thank you to Billy for sponsoring this video. Remember, I talked about them way in the beginning of this video. I swear, you guys, I love their razor. So again, if you want to grab that starter pack, it's super cheap, $9, not even a $10 bill, you guys, $9. You get the starter kit, free shipping, all of that. The link is in my bio. Check it out. Let me know what you guys think. But I love you guys. Thank you so much for being here. Make sure to give this video a big thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.